So at the Jewish Museum, I was brought in as part of a new management team by its new director at the time. And our mandate by the board was to take a very beloved museum that had been in operation 109 years and dust it off, in quotes, and make it more relevant to a changing community in a changing world. And so, huge mandate. And how do you take something that people who have loved and supported it and really considered it when, what's the goal of a museum director when someone talks about your museum? What do you want? What's the adjective or the preposition you want them to use? Is my. I want to go to my museum. Oh, that's the sine qua non, of how do you get them to own your museum in a certain way. So we had thousands of members who had been long-standing members of the Jewish Museum who wanted it to become a little more relevant, but were really afraid of change. And so I think what we recognized early on was that we had to have some quick wins. We had to do some things that got them excited, but were familiar enough that they felt like they weren't losing their museum. And I'm proud to say that when I left, almost 4 years into my tenure, we had gone through that transition phase where we stuck our toe in the water and we got them to come into the pool with us. And they got excited. They didn't love everything we did, but they still felt like they owned the museum, and those changes were their changes. And to hear them talk today about the way that the museum is, as if it were their idea, well, that's the end game. So I think that's an example of walking into a situation where when you had a population that was largely aging, that felt very committed to a certain practice, and getting to move them a little bit. And then the last opening I attended had 1,000 people at it, of all ages, of all ethnicities. So that was very gratifying. And the same thing was true when I started the Heart of Brooklyn in Brooklyn, before Brooklyn was synonymous with the new Manhattan. It was really about getting institutions. The Heart of Brooklyn was comprised of 6 large cultural agencies who didn't play nicely together, and getting them to understand that a rising tide lifts all boats, and where their missions overlapped in community engagement, in limited resources, was where they would play well the best. It was really exciting. So that took a while, and getting their boards to kind of go, okay, it's not competition, it's good for all of us. And so again, it's those partnership models that I feel really strongly about.